What's going on YouTube? Listen, Street Fighter 6 has been out in the streets for quite some time now. We've had a couple of exhibitions, a couple of demos of Street Fighter 6, mostly on the same build, but we've seen a lot of gameplay at this point of the early stages of Street Fighter 6. And one thing has stood out to me, and that's that we have not seen how the game looks at a high level, and the people are starting to notice. I've been seeing a lot of comments about how slow the game looks and how boring it looks, and I'm happy to report that we finally have some decent gameplay footage. Flawless Deku here actually got his hands on Street Fighter 6 at Versus Fighting over the past weekend and was able to get a lot of games in, and his Jamie is by far the best looking Jamie I've seen so far. So let's go ahead and take a look at this clip here. Oh my god, indeed. So there might have been several things happening in this clip that you had no idea was even possible in Street Fighter 6. I did not understand how to implement Drive Rush like he just did on the Crush Counter Punish, and I had no idea that after Jamie's level 3 you can juggle after. These combo routes I didn't know about. Any of these gameplay mechanics I didn't know about. I didn't know how to string these things together. I actually got to play Street Fighter 6 for about 45 minutes to an hour, and I didn't know about any of this stuff. So did you notice anything different about this gameplay? The gameplay looks good. It changes a lot when you actually give a player time to sit down and try the game out and figure things out. So I'll go ahead and link to this video in the description that Flawless Deku put up, so be sure to check out the videos. He has tons of high-level footage. It's awesome to watch. But there's a big difference when you give players time to sit down and figure out the game. And this is something that, Matt Edwards from the Capcom team with Capcom Europe, the Street Writer on Twitter, he took care to give players optimal setups here to figure the games out, which I really appreciate, and I hope to see more of this in the future, and that's why we got to see people like Flawless Deku break down Jamie in Street Fighter 6. But yeah, he has the laptop setups here. He got the monitors ready, the arcade sticks ready, the pads ready. So players are actually able to sit down and actually figure out how to play the game to a decent level. Now, why is this important? Well, I kind of already touched on it a bit ago. But if you do not show how the high-level gameplay could look, not even like optimized to the highest degree, but some kind of structured mid to high-level gameplay for a new fighting game, the general audience is going to have no idea how the game will perform. We've seen Street Fighter 6 gameplay, and I really appreciate that when Capcom first showed off Street Fighter 6, they focused more heavily on the features, the modes, like the single-player content that they're bringing to the table, getting us into the aesthetics in the world of Street Fighter 6. But it's time to show off some good gameplay. Why are there no developer demos of higher level matches to show off how the flow of the gameplay can actually look? Why don't they have people from the community, if need be, working with them to demonstrate how the gameplay can flow when two players who are competent at the game play together? For the most part, when new fighting games come out, we get this weird trickle feed of hand cam footage from on-location demo sites where people are just mashing and have no idea how to play the game. It's just not an effective way to distribute the game. At this point, I can understand for maybe the first couple demonstrations that's acceptable to see, where it's kind of like, oh, I can maybe sometimes do a Shoryuken. Oh, look, I managed to do one EX move, right? But it's been months of seeing this at this point, and it's starting to tarnish the reputation or the perspective of the average viewer of how the game looks. I've been getting tons of comments of people saying that the gameplay looks boring or slow, and I don't blame them for thinking that. Like, I don't think that's the case myself, but when you don't get people who actually know how to break down the game, it starts to look repetitive and stale really quick. I know from my own mental thought experiments, when I know the mechanics and how they can potentially interplay with each other, I can project in my mind how the game will be played in the future, right? So seeing the mechanics and understanding a bit of how they work under the hood already gets me excited for the future of Street Fighter 6. But not everyone can do that. They just look at how the game is playing today when they see the footage. And today, when people suck at the game, it looks boring and repetitive because people figure out one combo that works, their B&B for that session, and they just poke around and they're they're ineffective and they don't optimize, and the gameplay looks slow, and not slow in a good way, slow in what people consider a bad way. So for example, me and Rob got to play the game and the gameplay does not look good. We had an hour total on the setup, but a lot of that we spent just testing the mechanics, not playing. Then we played a first to 3 after. 56,000 views. A lot of the comments were saying the gameplay looks a little slow. It looks like there's low damage. It looks like this or that. And that's because we suck at the game. Every single hit I did the same basic baby combo because I didn't know how to do anything else. I'm missing punishes. Rob barely knows a combo with Ryu. We're not using drive impact or drive rush at all. There was no usage of drive rush, which I think is going to be a big part of the gameplay. And you know, people see this and they're extrapolating like this is what the gameplay is going to be. It's not. So I really don't understand why this is a consistent problem that we've seen for a long time in the FGC, where people don't get from the developers early on just some kind of perspective of how the game will play. Show us the beauty of this game at a higher level. You have a parry, you have an unblockable drive impact mechanic that is asking to be parried. You have all these mechanics that interplay with each other, but they require both opponents to know how to use them and to know how to counterplay each other. So get 2 people who are good and record some good demo footage. I think it's about time. Otherwise, you're going to be poisoning the well, so to speak, with everyone's perspective, because some people judge this off this little footage here. And they go, oh, the game is slow. There's nothing advanced to do here. There's nothing exciting. The damage is low. When we obviously know that's not the case. And we can know that just by looking at past examples from history. Someone even brought this up in my stream about how Marvel 3 used to look. I found this YouTube video on Marvel Entertainment, 19.6 million subscribers. And if you were to judge how Marvel 3 played from this video, you would have thought it was just like, you know, Street Fighter Part 2. You know, they do a basic string combo, ended in a special. There you go. Oh, that was kind of fancy, not gonna lie. The damage looks pretty low, doesn't it? They're 20 seconds in, 20 Marvel seconds in, and both characters are alive. I almost felt like there's going to be a real combo there. They tag out, punish the tag, but you get the idea here, right? So the gameplay is just not optimized. I think this does a little bit of a better job of giving you a good feel for how the game will play, because Marvel is, even at a low level, it just looks and feels good. I don't think Street Fighter is always the case. Street Fighter at a low level looks kind of boring and bad, in my opinion. I think Marvel is just a much flashier series in gameplay wise, because everything cancels into each other. The animations are very smooth. It looks great. I mean, MVC 3 is one of the greatest games of all time, in my opinion. But you can see here, if you were to judge the gameplay, you would think this was a low damage game with you know, lots of opportunities after you get a hit to reset the neutral. That's not how this game is at all. This game is busted damage. You die in one interaction. You get hit once, you might not even be able to play for the rest of the game. They're not even using assists at all in the gameplay here, right? You cannot judge fighting games from their first introduction, first bit of gameplay that you see from official sources, or even unofficial sources when people first get their hands on the game, because it takes time to get good at them. Now, the problem is this shouldn't be an issue in 2022. I understand, like I said, for the first couple of demos and first couple of location tests, not having those things laid out, but man, you need to just show us what it could be. I think it would be much more effective to communicate to the players like where the vision is going if you just had some demonstration matches. Show us the beauty of what Street Fighter 6 could be so we can see the vision of the developers and where they are intending for us to go. Will it be optimized? No. Will it have all the problems solved that players are looking to solve? And will there be unique situations that players come up with later on that the developers didn't intend? Yeah, most likely. That's what makes fighting games so fun. They're a bit like a sandbox game at the end of the day. They create a fighting game engine and the players break it to the best of their ability, right? But just show us how it could be played. Because I agree, I'm getting a little bored of seeing the whack gameplay of Street Fighter 6. So shout outs again to Flawless Deku for showing us how cool Jamie can be, because I think Jamie is that dude right now in Street Fighter 6, and I loved watching his gameplay footage. But that said, I think they're taking some steps in the right direction. I saw this on Twitter from Yipes, happy to announce me and the homies are going to have a sit down with Street Fighter 6 featuring L.I. Joe, Javits, Listen to Prince, NYC Furby, and Chung. So they're going to be actually sitting down this coming Friday or Saturday, I believe, and going to be breaking down some Street Fighter 6 action. And I know we're in good hands. I mean, Yipes is a fighting game monster. L.I. Joe, this whole crew is amazing at fighting games, especially day one. I think L.I. Joe is one of the best, like, year one, day one, month one fighting game players of all time. He just has a natural talent for picking apart games quick. And Javits is that guy for understanding fighting game engines and breaking them down to an amazingly detailed level. If you want to nerd out, you want to hear what Javits has to say about Street Fighter 6. So I have high hopes for this exhibition to give us some more detailed information and some good gameplay footage for how Street Fighter 6 can be played. So happy to see this being done. I just hope we get more of this, and I wish we had more sooner. That's all I have to say about this topic. Please, developers, show us the beauty of your game early on. Don't leave us scratching our heads and making bad assumptions about how the game is going to be played in the future. That said, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. It always supports the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.